opportunity, then you must be able to organize your resources. Then remember just now in the beginning, I told you, if you are an entrepreneur, for sure, you have to take on risk, okay, to build something, usually a business around it. So 4 things you need to do as an entrepreneur. First, you spot a problem or an unmet need that somebody failed to see it. Second, right, you build a product, a service, or solution around the problem or unmet need. Third, you must be able to take on risk. So how is the risk being expressed in itself? So you invest your time, your money, or reputation, right, on an unproven idea. Because what you are doing, be it a problem you are going to solve, where you create a product, service, or solution, is something that is not proven. That's why it involves risk. Fourth, you need to grow it. You need to adapt, you need to learn fast, and you need to scale up what works. That is the meaning of entrepreneurship. Next. Okay, so now that you know what is innovation and you know what is entrepreneurship, now let us look at innovation versus invention. Okay, what is the meaning of invention? Invention, when you want to invent something, right, you need to answer that question: does it exist? Okay, does it exist? If it hasn't exist, and you make it, it's called invention. That means you make something that has never happened before. Nobody has created it. One good example for a long time ago will be the Thomas Alva Edison's, light bulb prototype. During his era, he's the first guy who makes something like this, better than anybody else. Okay. Then innovation. Innovation is you need to answer the question: does it matter? Okay, are you making something more useful, more accessible, or more widely adopted? Okay, so just now invention, we talk about light bulb. Now we talk about turning the bulb into something that is highly affordable. You can mass produce it, and the whole world can use it. Okay, so it's no use if you can only make one light bulb and only you can use it and nobody else can use it. Then it's not called innovation. It must be something that you can make in a huge scale and benefit a lot of people. Yeah, that's the meaning of innovation. Okay, next. Now, entrepreneurial mindset. Okay, entrepreneur, it's not just a way of life, it's a way of thinking also. Okay, you need to be curious. There are 6 criteria in the mindset. Number 1, you got to be curious. You need to ask questions like, why? What if I do something like this? What will happen? Resilient. Okay, because it involves risk. For sure, if it involves risk, it will involve failure. If there's failure, that means you need resilience. Yeah, failure without resilience will not make you a good entrepreneur. Third, you need to be creative. You need to be able to connect the dots in different ways. Okay. Fourth, you need to have risk tolerance. You cannot be an entrepreneur if you cannot tolerate risk. Because as an entrepreneur, things that you are dealing with, when you build a business, it is changing. Your market, your customers, they have different needs depending on different time of their lives, their life. Persistence. Okay, you need to be able to continue even though you face hard problem. You cannot give up easily. You need to be like a good boxer. If somebody gives you a knockout, right, you need to bounce back up again. You've seen it in people like Elon Musk. You've seen it, who's very well known for inventing and using reusable rockets and making the electric car Tesla, and people like Jeff Bezos. These are well-known entrepreneurs. They are well known for their persistence. They never give up. Number 6, you need to have empathy. You need to understand others' needs. No use making something that you think is very good for yourself, but nobody else cares about it or even want to use it. So you need to be able to empathize with your customers, your potential customers. Okay, next. 3 types of innovation. First, it's like a product. You make a new or improved item. For example, you can use you make something like a solar power phone charger. Okay. Second is the process, a better way of doing something. Perhaps you want to, for a good example, it's like you do 3D printing shoe parts instead of molding them. That will make the production process more efficient and more effective. And third, a new way of delivering or charging for value, like a business model, okay? Subscription boxes instead of one-time sales. Yeah, things like that. Like when you do Netflix, right? I mean, in a long time ago in the US, when you want to watch movies, you go to the videotape stores, to rent the videotapes or even to buy them. But you can see nowadays, you can't find many of them around. Why? Because you have things like you have businesses like Netflix, you have Amazon Prime Video, you are using subscription-based business model. So you don't need those people anymore. Okay, next. A case study. Okay. There's a very famous example called Airbnb, 2007 to 2008. They started it. Okay. It comes from the problem. What is the problem they are trying to solve? It is essentially about two roommates. They couldn't afford rent. And there's a local conference and they went to look for accommodation in the hotel. Everything is sold out. So they came out with an idea. Why can't we rent our air mattress in our apartment to attendees who needed a place to stay? Then they test their idea. How do they do that? They built a simple website and hosted 3 guests. It's a tiny, low-cost experiment. I would call it a good prototyping. Then fourth, the idea grew into a global platform for booking homes in over 220 countries and regions. And I would say not every country allows Airbnb. For example, Singapore, if it's not legal in Singapore, yeah, it doesn't work in Singapore, but there are other countries like Malaysia, like Indonesia, and so forth works well. Okay, what is the lesson learned? Usually, if you want to build a business, right, don't be over ambitious. Start small. Okay, start small so that you can deal with it one piece at a time. Don't be greedy and think of building a big business. Then from there, right, you scale up. Yeah, things like this. Next, some of the young innovators that are making real impact, okay? You have people like Michaela Ulmer. She started a lemonade company at the age of 4 using her great-grandmother's flaxseed recipe. Then she grew it into a business, selling in national retailers and donate a share of profit to protecting honeybees. So you can see, this is a business that have good impact in the world. Yeah, because she donate a share of her profit to protect the honeybees. Yeah. So second person we want to look at can be a person called Anne Mokosinski. She invented a flashlight powered by the heat of the human hand. So it's aimed at helping students, right, without reliable electricity study after dark. Okay, that may be very useful in countries in Africa where you don't have very reliable electrical supply. So another good example to look at is a person by the name of Boyan Slat. He founded a non-profit at 18 to design systems, right, that can clean plastic pollution from the oceans and many more. I'm sure you guys, can do better than them if you have good ideas and you are persistent and you are resilient. Yeah, next. Okay, so just now I told you, what I'm going to cover today, design thinking. So what is design thinking? It's basically turning your idea into solution. Okay, so first you need to be able to empathize with the real user, person that is going to use your product, solution, or service. What is the problem the person is facing. Then you got to define. You need to frame the specific challenge. Then after that, right, you come up with as many ideas as possible. Just don't stop at one idea. Why would you want to do something like that? Is to diversify risk. Yeah, in case one idea fails, right, other ideas may work. If you come up with only one idea, and if that idea fail, then nothing will work. Okay. Next, then you turn your idea into a prototype. Okay, prototyping is very interesting. You build a quick and cheap mock-up. And with the help of AI these days, right, you can do prototyping using your agentic AI. You can use Claude to help you and Manus, things like this. Then after that, you test. You test your product, your service, or your business model. Why you want to test it? So that you get feedback from your customers and you improve before you scale. Okay, and this is a loop. It will repeat itself again and again. Sometimes something doesn't work, like you got the definition wrong, you define the wrong challenge, and then you work on it again, and so forth. Okay. Next. Okay. Spotting problems worth solving. Okay, there are a few ways to do it. Notice your own daily frustration. What wastes your time or money? And you can make a business out of it. Okay. Number two, watching people struggle with their everyday tasks. Ask them what's annoying them and look for gaps. What do people fake fix with tape, hacks or workarounds? These things can help you to create businesses or solution. Also do a lot of reading. Read about big challenges like climate, health exchange, and zoom into one small piece that you really care about. Yeah. Number five, the last one is ask why does it have to work this way about things everyone accepts. Yeah, you don't have to think about the way the same things other people think. Yeah, you can come up with something new. Yeah, next. Okay, then you turn the idea into a business. Now, this is a concept called business model canvas. So you must be able to answer 4 questions before you actually start your business. First, you need to know who is it for? Who are your clients, your customer? You must be specific. It cannot be for everyone. Okay? So, and what value do you offer? The problem you solve or need you meet must be better than the alternatives. Mr. Elon Musk has shared before. If you want to make a new product or service, make sure your service is going to be 10,000 times better than your competitors, things like this. So how do you reach and keep them? How do you reach your customers and keep them? You need to market to them through marketing channels, and you need to build loyalty. You need to get their loyalty. And how do you make money? Of course, you need to have proper pricing. You need to make sure that you have good revenue stream, and you need to control your costs. Okay? No, a good example is the company called Swatch. I'm not sure whether you see such watches in US. Swatch is a very well-known Swiss company making watches. As you know, Switzerland is one of the most expensive country in the world to make watches. So how on earth is Swatch able to make watches, in Switzerland, then after that sell it to the entire world? That's a question worth asking. How did they do it? Very simple. They control their supply chain. They make most of the products themselves, the components, and they make sure, right, their costs don't exceed 10%. Yeah, they are very careful in cost control. Okay. Next. I spoke about this. When you are doing innovation, you are doing entrepreneurship, for sure there's failure. When Elon Musk first started the SpaceX, he knew nothing about space, Then he worked with a bunch of people, engineers, and he went to meetings and asked people a lot of questions about space. And from the money he get from cashing out in his previous startup, right? He start buying rockets that are of no use from Russia, okay, to tear them apart and understand how the rockets work before he made his own rocket, okay? Yeah. So 42% of startups must fail because they build something that nobody actually needed more than any other single reason. And one more thing, when Elon Musk fires a rocket into space, right? Every failure costs him easily 22 million US dollars, yeah, for the basic rocket. So failure isn't the opposite of success, it's part of the process. So entrepreneurs, they treat setbacks as data. What did this attempt teach me? Okay. And then they adjust and try it again, faster and smarter than before. Don't treat your failure as that's the end of the world. You know, Thomas Alva Edison, right? When he made the light bulb, I think he only got successful in during the one his what his 1,000 trial. The 1,000 attempt, the later then he got very successful. Before that, he view it as a learning experience. Okay. Yeah, things like that. Next. Okay, so there are resources for young entrepreneurs. As I said, start small, don't be over ambitious. You can bootstrap your business from your savings, from the allowances your parents gave you, or you can provide tutoring to people. You're selling crafts, and you can test your idea with real customers. And you can participate in competitions like school, regional, national pitch competitions, and business plan challenges. And you also can pursue crowdfunding. A very well-known crowdfunding website is, of course, Kickstarter, where many people can contribute a small amount to fund your project. Okay. The last part, you can look for mentors and clubs, teachers, local business owners, and programs like Junior Achievement, yeah, or DECA. Yeah. So innovation with responsibility. So to become the best entrepreneurs, you not just ask the question, can you build this, but should you build it? And if you do it, who will you affect? Yeah. So this is called innovation with responsibility. So for the people, you need to think about people. Do you treat your customers, workers, and communities fairly? Let's say, for example, you are setting up a business, selling coffee beans. Are you buying coffee beans for farmers who are able to sell you at a fair price, or you're buying coffee beans from farmers who are being exploited from Indonesia? So you need to know about this. So planet, what's the environmental footprint, the materials, the waste, energy? Like these days, right? There is a lot of production on electric vehicle. You use the rare metals, when you don't need to use them anymore. How do you get rid of them? How do you recycle them? Are you causing a lot of unnecessary waste in the world? Yeah, things like that. And trust. Is it honest about what it does and transparent about data and pricing? Means as a business, are you honest about what you do? Are you transparent about the pricing and the data, or are you hiding things from the customers? Yeah. Skills you can build right now to help you build a good business is communication. Join debate, present in class, practice explaining ideas clearly, collaborate with others, work on group projects, work with each other in interest clubs or team sports. Financial literacy, that's where the math comes in. You need to be able to build a budget, need to understand the meaning of budgeting. Yeah. How you do your savings, how you are going to spend your budget, and how you are going to price your product or service. Digital skills. You need to have basic knowledge on design, coding, or video content and creation tools if you are going to build your own website. Yeah. Okay. So now we are going to do a quick activity, a 3-minute idea spark. Okay. Hopefully you can work together in pairs, think about what you want to solve, work with each other, with a partner, okay, and share with your partner, okay, what you want to do. Yeah, maybe you can work with each other now, then have a quick sharing. Yeah. Okay, maybe you can have 10 minutes doing that. And after that, I'll call on some of you to share briefly what you thought about. Yeah. Okay, we have 5 more minutes before you start sharing what you've done. Okay. Yeah. Okay, time's up. Is there any volunteer? I think I'll just get two pairs to share, what they have done. Anybody wants to volunteer? Yeah. Uh, uh, Excuse me.
Yeah.
Are there any volunteers? Yeah.
Oh, give me 1 second.
Yeah, because I do not know I can't see who are the participants. So I
Okay, give
just,
me 1 second.
yeah,
Since we're gonna go interactive, I'm gonna stop the recording
yeah. Okay.
and I'm going to open it up so they can interact.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, just 2 pairs to share will be enough. Yeah.
So maybe if you have a comment or question or discussion with the pair, you can let us know, and then you can unmute and speak. And then if you don't mind, if you mute so that we can all hear one at a time.
Oh, I see.
Oh,
I
no, I
think,
meant Dr. Gan. I was just telling the guest. So the floor is open. Did you want them to answer a question? I've opened the mic now.
yes. Because I told them to do this 3-minute idea spark. I like
Okay,
2 pairs to share, what they have done. Yeah.
perfect. The floor is open. Who wants to go first? I know there were two people who had their hands up earlier. I didn't know if
Yeah.
it was
The,
related to
I
this
think
or.
there's this Christos Mohammed. Yeah, you can share. Christos Mohammed, I think.
It's Mohammed.
Mohammed,
Oh,
did you have a
sorry.
question?
Mohammed. Sorry. Okay.
Okay.
And then John Collins also has a question, a hand up as well.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry. Hello, sorry.
How are
Can
you?
you hear me?
Hello, is this
Hello,
John?
yeah, but I was driving, so I didn't really follow it. I came out a while and just came back in on my phone. I didn't follow the lecture.
No
I didn't
worries.
follow the Zoom. So
We
I
have
don't know. I don't know really what's the question. That's why. So I'm still driving, going back home.
no worries.
Okay.
The question has to do with a 3-minute idea spark. Name one everyday annoyance you or your family deals with. Tell it to someone else, and then together try and see. Guess who else has the same problem, and then one idea can work. One idea between a group of people. So basically, it has to do with solving problems.
Oh, okay, no problem. That I'm driving. It's kind of difficult for me to look at it.
No worries.
That's why.
And you're from the Netherlands, is that right?
Yeah, I'm from the Netherlands.
Okay, no worries. We'll talk soon. I know you reached out to us.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
One of the greatest physical chemists in history is actually from the Netherlands. His name was Van der Waals. And so he found a problem and solved it. So that would be a fun project to look at.
Oh, sure. Van
Yeah.
der Waals. I will look at it.
Van der
Thank you.
Waals forces in chemistry. Yeah.
Van der Waals.
So, Christos, did you have any questions? No worries if you don't. Okay. And then
I don't have a question right now.
okay, no problem. So, Dr. Gan, a lot of the people on the call are actually educators. And so I didn't know if any of the educators, my friend Dr. Thomas is here as well, and Rabo, well, so if you guys also wanted to chip in, I know a lot of our students are not on this particular call, but I thought that it would be good if you guys also had any feedback for Dr. Gan.
Oh, sure. If you have any, if you are able, wait a minute.
Maybe Chinonso can give us a scenario even where he is in Jos, where some of our students are based, and then Mrs. Stella Palm is also in Jos, and she can share with us too.
Okay, if you are not able to, if you have nothing to share, why don't I finish this lecture? Then you can ask me more questions.
Perfect.
That would be better, right?
Sounds good. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, so that is the 3-minute idea spark, which you can try with your students. Yeah, if you are teaching them entrepreneurship. Yeah, the last slide. So some of the important key takeaways I want you to know from this lecture is, first, innovation can be something new or something useful, but most important of all, it has to create real value. That's the meaning of innovation. Entrepreneurship is simply turning ideas into actions, but with real risk attached. So risk means that there will be failure. Yeah. So I have never met an entrepreneur that hasn't failed before. Yeah. If you are entrepreneur, for sure, you're going to face some failure. And because you are going to face some failure, you must be able to stomach it. You need to have your stomach who's able to tolerate risk, and failure. Yeah. Third, Great ventures start small, okay? Don't be over ambitious. Don't do something beyond your own limit. Spot a problem, a good problem you can solve. Test a tiny solution, then learn about it and repeat and repeat and repeat, you know? Number 4, do not view failure as the end of the world. It is not. Failure is allows you to have feedback, or it's not a judgment, and you can learn to be resilient. Yeah. So last point, you can start by building these skills today at any age. Okay. That's the end of my lecture. Then, as I told you, you have a 1-hour project that I like you to split into groups to do, or you can do it with your students. You know, find a problem, something that really bothers you, you know, or your community, that you think that you can solve the problem. Yeah, by designing a solution out of it. You know, sketch your product, your service in the simplified business model canvas that I covered just now by answering 4 questions, you know. What problem you are trying to solve, who are your customers, your pricing model, and so forth. Then pitch it. Write a 60-second pitch and answer some reflection questions. Okay, this is just the basics. Okay, now I'm going to share with you what the assignment looks like. Yeah. Okay, can you all see the assignment? It's called the topic Design Your Own Startup. Can you see that, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, good, good, good. Okay, so it's supposed to be a 1-hour assignment, yeah, for ages 12 to 18. So it's asking you to imagine, design, and pitch your own startup idea that solves a real problem. Best that you work in pairs. Of course, you can work by yourself, you know, 60 minutes in 3 20-minute stages. So what are the learning objectives we are trying to achieve from this? So you're going to identify a genuine problem that's worth solving. You're going to apply the design thinking methodology I taught you just now, briefly. And what is the business model canvas, you know, from the lecture. And practice communicating your idea clearly and persuasively. Yeah. Then you need to reflect on the risk, the resilience, and value your idea creates. So I'm going to share this with Amos so he can share it with the entire community. So find a problem first, you know, write a few sentences to describe it, you know. That's stage 1. Then design a solution around your problem. This is the business model canvas we are talking about just now. Who is it for? What value do you offer? You know, how do you do that? What problem you are trying to solve and how do you do that? How are you going to reach your customers and keep them? Yeah, of course, through marketing, you know. Is there any loyalty program for them if they buy your product or your service? How are you going to make money out of your product or solution or service? You know, what is the pricing, the revenue, you know? Yeah. And you can even design a logo for your product or service on a separate sheet of paper. Okay. That's a bonus. Okay, it's optional. Yeah. Then the stage 3 is asking you to do a 60-second pitch, which is about 100 to 150 words. You can say it aloud. Yeah, basically you should cover what is your problem, your solution, who is it for, and of course, 1 sentence on why you are excited about it. Then reflect. on what you have done by asking some of these questions, what is the biggest risk in your idea? How would you test it before investing a lot of time or money on it? And if your very first version failed, what's one thing you're going to change and you're going to try next? Finally, who might be negatively affected by your idea and how can you address that? Yeah, we're talking about making a good impact, right, in the world. And how will you be judged? Like, we'll look at you based on your problem clarity. Did you say it clearly? That's 5 points. How you design your solution. Is it logical? Does it connect to the problem? That's another 5 points. Your pitch quality. Is it clear, persuasive, and fits the time and word limit? That's another 5 points. Then reflection depth on what you have done. Yeah, about risk, failure, and impact. That's 5 points. So total out of 20. Yeah. So you can work on this for a few days. Then I believe Amos said that if possible, you should share it in 1 or 2 days time, right, Amos, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that's all I have for you, for all the students and who are the teachers also. And if feel free if you have any questions that you want to ask, that I can answer. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I
Thank
will
you.
share this with you, Amos, so you can
Oh,
share
okay.
with I will
With the
share it to the
students.
chat group. Yeah.
Thank you so much,
Everything.
Dr. Kurlingan. Thank you for helping us. I am encouraged in learning more about, well, first of all, I know I face setbacks as an entrepreneur, but it's encouraging to hear that all entrepreneurs face setbacks. But Dr. Gan, here's my question. And then if anyone else has a question, we'll just go for about 5 minutes if it's okay. Just so you guys know, it's actually about 12:50 a.m. in Singapore right now. So they're
Yeah.
already, right? Is that right? Am I correct?
You are correct. You are correct.
Yeah, so Dr. Gan stayed up through the late night, is burning the late night oil for us. Thank you.
Yes.
But I did hear that, as I said before, that many people apparently in Singapore don't sleep in most of the night. So is that true, but Dr. Gan?
Not really. Some.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what is your how do we teach failure in an education system that does not basically encourage people to try and fail? How do we teach it? Because it's something that our schools, we never want to fail anything. So then how are we going to learn when failure hits as entrepreneurs?
That's you are asking me the question, right? I'm trying
Yes,
to
sir.
answer. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. As you know, in the education system, we are using all over the world, including Nigeria and Singapore. Failure, it's not so much encouraged, but it's changing. For example, I'm from Singapore. I can see that, yeah, the scores of your exam or of your homework is not the most important thing. So the teacher always repeat to the students and say it is the learning process. What did you learn out of it that matters? Yeah, because you are not determined by your score. Yeah, it has changed. And maybe you got to change the education system in such a way that the students can do more hands-on work. Yeah, instead of just taking exams, maybe they can do more project works that's also testing the same thing they get from the exam. That will be very interesting. So from there, maybe they can even make a business or make a real product and market and sell it. Then they know how to try. And the most important of all, right? They need to have the skin in the game. Just now I was talking about investment. They need to bootstrap their business, at their age. If they go to the bank, you'll not get any money from the bank, of course, or from venture capitalists or investors. So they can start from their own savings. If they are very interested to do business, right? They can start from their own savings, start something small, and from there learn, and grow with it. And then they understand the value of money, the value of how to get their product out to people, and how they can apply their knowledge from school in real life. Like Nigeria, you were saying, face problem with electricity, and clean water supply. If they can learn enough math or science skills and build a business out of it to address the drinking water problem or energy supply problem, it will be very good, from there. Yeah,
So
more hands-on.
yeah, so more hands-on then. So please, team members, and let's make sure that we're building that out, more hands-on. And I was thinking about something today. So if you have any, we'll take one more question and then we'll let Dr. Colin Gan rest. And then we're actually going to do about 30 minutes of math problems after. But what I was going to say is, Dr. Colin, one of the things about history that I'm finding interesting is that some of the greatest centers of innovation happen in certain hubs. If you think about history, there was the, Alexandria, Euclid of Alexandria, right? Then you think about today, you think of Cambridge, you think of MIT, you think of Princeton. It seems like sometimes these things are concentrated. And I woke up this morning, or at least today, I was troubled by that because my goal in life is how do we decentralize excellence, if that makes sense? How do we get people to pursue excellence? It's not an easy task. It's easier to do it in a place that is already pursuing excellence. But it's getting it started. Newton's law of motion, which is actually Galileo's work. But anyways, the point I'm trying to bring is, in your communities, can we all pursue bringing excellence to grow and flourish and innovation? Like 126 Nobel Prizes come from Cambridge. Like that's one institution. And so you wonder what it creates these places of innovation. So anyways, any questions for Dr. Gan before he's going to rest?
Oh, John Collins has a question. He put up his hands, I think.
I think he clicked by mistake.
Oh,
So
I'm not sure.
because
Yes.
he was driving. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anybody else, any team members? Dr. Gan, would love to have you back and just dive in with maybe some of the team, as I said before, where we could talk about entrepreneurship. So
I want to ask a question.
Oh, sure.
go ahead.
First, I want to apologize. I came in very late. I didn't really get to catch up on the earlier aspects of the lectures, but I believe towards this ending, your conclusion, I was able to pick one or two things. And my question is, one, at what age and at what stage do you think it's best for one to start training kids on how to become entrepreneurs? Then, secondly, there was a definition you gave about entrepreneurship where you said it's about innovation and it entails risk, you solving problems and looking for a way to um, get looking for a way, solving problems and looking for a way to monetize it. Let me just sum it up that way. So, um, looking at the conditions of our environment, sometimes you're trying to solve a problem, and at the end of the day, you create maybe another friction somewhere else. So, how do one address this holistically? Because you may not see the downside of the problem you're solving. You get so how do we harmonize these? These are my questions. One,
Wow.
at what age one can start, and how do you boycott causing a problem in another area when you're trying to solve one problem? Those are my two questions.
Okay. I'll do my best to answer your question. I will use an example of AI, artificial intelligence, as this is the hottest topic now in the whole world. Yeah, then maybe will help you understand better. So ever since ChatGPT, OpenAI came out with ChatGPT, it got a lot of people in the world worried, whether like AI will take over the jobs of a lot of people. That depends on how you look at it. Yeah. For example, in the radiology department in hospital, recently our Prime Minister of Singapore, Lawrence Wong, gave a speech during the National Day rally, which I listened very closely. Yeah, AI is used to detect breast cancer better than an ordinary radiologist can do. They are more efficient and can detect it better. So do you think that if radiologists, when they start using AI, they'll lose their jobs? No, by all means, no. Instead, they require more radiologists now. Yeah, because they need the radiologists to interpret, right, the information, the result that comes out from AI. So AI is a tool that people fear a lot, but actually it is part of a tool that will enhance the productivity of your life. Of course, there are certain jobs that will be lost along the way. For example, the low-level entry jobs like answering phones, if it's being replaced by the machine. That's why the person need to upskill. So you need to be able to use AI to enhance the productivity of your job. Like Amos can tell you a lot. He uses agentic AI a lot to help him in his work that he himself alone can't do. But with the help of agentic AI, it has caused his work to be way more productive. Yeah. It's like when Microsoft release Microsoft Office, or operating system. I mean Microsoft Office many years back. People may feel frightened, Yeah, if we start using this, does it mean that we'll remove, clerical assistants or clerks or not? By all means, no. Microsoft Office in the form of Word, Excel, PowerPoint has enhanced the work of the clerical assistant or people working in the office. Yeah, that's my simplistic answer to you. Maybe there are more examples you can think of yourself. Yeah, I hope I answer your question.
Thank you, Dr. Colin Gunn. Why don't we, when we do we're going to have a team discussion, and of course we'll have these discussions with everybody. So let me tie it up this way. As I said, I'm sorry it's 1 a.m. at your time, but we wanted you to join in. So, but thank you so much for your time. Do you mind sharing your email with the teachers on the call? Maybe in the chat, or you want me to send it to them? Or to those on the call. Okay, so there's a chat feature there, and you share it if you have any further questions. The last thing I was going to mention as we close this segment is that, so we teach mathematics. That's a lot of what we do. We teach a lot of mathematics and science and so on and so forth. But what we are doing now as a company is part of what Dr. Colin Gann has said is that basically we are at a point in history where everybody actually needs to understand entrepreneurship, because some jobs will be gone or will change. And if you have an entrepreneurial mindset, it is easier to handle change. So this class will be something we'll offer to the public as part of the Life Academy series, which is on entrepreneurship for everybody. So thank you so much again. And if there's no last second burning questions, I am just going to transition. And I know some of the people on the call are not here for the math side necessarily, but we'll just take, even if it's just 10 minutes, 15 minutes, answer some questions in math, and then we'll call it a day today. Tomorrow, we'll jump back into the series on algebra. So Dr. Colin Gunn, we're doing algebra series tomorrow. And we're basically just going to teach about graphing and inequalities from algebra. But is there any other questions, thoughts, comments, objections before we do that? Actually, you know what? I'm looking on the call here, and most of the people are actually not here to do algebra. So let's so I'll probably hold back on some of my algebra. But Dr. Thomas and I we'll do some math. We'll do some math for fun. But so you know how you can watch an artist paint right on the side of the road? That's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna be painting math on the side of the screen, and you guys can join in if you want. So, Mr. Sunday, I don't know if you have any questions for us before we transition.
Okay. Amos,
Yes.
I'm going to, sorry to interrupt. I'm going to share the slides with Amos, then I'll let you share with the group. Yeah.
Okay, sounds good. I'll pass it on. So
yeah, and hopefully in 2 days' time, I can hear what businesses you guys have thought about if you want to share.
Okay,
Yeah.
no problem. Yeah, we'll do that for sure. So Sunday, did you have a question?
Yes, I just wanted Dr. Colin to, specify the age range at which a child is supposed to be learning entrepreneurship or supposed to participate in entrepreneurship. I think it was one of the questions that the last person asked, like at what age should a child begin to practice entrepreneurship?
If I can sneak in something here, because we the word suppose, and I just say this in love, and coming from that word is different from Americans, Singaporeans, and Africans. That word suppose. In America, the answer is when they come out of, like, when they're baby, when they're born, like, we tell you you're gonna solve a problem. Does that make sense? So I think it's a cultural issue. So the word suppose, I think, would be more tied to, and I'm just speaking again in love, don't take it the wrong way, Sunday, I'm answering for a second. Sunday is one of our team members, by the way. But Sunday, I think the word suppose, like, nobody needs to give anybody permission, is what America would say. But let's hear what Singapore would say. Singapore, what do you think about that question? Is there an age that people are supposed to, or that would start entrepreneurship?
Yeah, as far as I know of, right, there's not a specific age because I remember, right, some of the preschools in Singapore, they have kids doing certain selling their drawings to raise fund to take care of the elderly and so forth. Yeah, things like that. They can start even as young as 4, 5 years old. However, having said that, they will need some hand holding from adults. Yeah, a kid at 4, 5, maybe at the preschool age, may have a very bright idea to start a business, but as you know, how much a 4, 5-year-old can do, there's still a lot of things they need help in. Whereas if you start a business when you're 12, let's say you are in your teens, 12, I would say that it is a better time to start business when you are in your early teens, like at least 11 to 12 years old, when you know some of the good, you already know some math that can help you run a business, and you can speak properly, you can articulate your ideas and do a good pitch. I would think that at that age, a kid will be perhaps sufficiently trained enough to start a simple business, not the advanced business like, a reusable rocket, no such thing. I mean, they will have enough knowledge, to do some small business. But having said that, there may be some kids who are very bright. They may be the outlier. They can do way beyond normal kids. They do exist, But having said that, I think quite a good age to start a business, as I said, is 11 years old onwards. Of course, kids are very bright. Some have very good ideas when they are 4, 5 years old. And if they decide to start a business out of it, they will need a lot of help from adults, their parents or teachers or people who are keen to help them and help them succeed to be successful. Yeah. I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thanks so much, sir.
And I agree with Dr. Colleen. That makes a lot of sense there. But one of the things let me, if you don't mind, this is where I'll transition to mathematics, Dr. Colleen, is have you guys noticed that? Let me just tell you guys a fact, and then we'll do answer a math problem. Just one or two. If you have any questions you want us to tackle specifically, please feel free to let us know in maths. But we've been dealing with graphing a lot. That's what we started doing yesterday. So I'm gonna probably, I don't know if Chinonso has his marker ready, but I'm just going to do one concept of that, and that's it. I also wanted to introduce Mr. Yinka from Lead Learning also to the community, so everybody begins to see the work we're doing together. But have you ever thought about the fact that Singapore is one of the best countries in mathematics in the world? Like, there's a whole book I have here on Singapore math. Like, the name of the book is The Secrets of Singapore Math. I mean, just think about that. And Dr. Colleen finds it interesting. I keep bringing that up. But why would there be a whole book? And I actually know the author now, by the way. So I know the author of this book now, and we're working on a project on some things, but they're a mathematician as well. And it's The Secrets to Singapore's World-Class Math Curriculum. Now, Singapore is one of the best, but have you noticed what country has one of the heaviest amounts of innovative outputs in the world? It's America. And you wonder, how do you go from where we are, right? America is not known to be one of the best in math, but we attract a lot of talent here, and we allow for you to try, and if you fail, you can try again. That culture of allowing people to try again, that is part of what helps America do what America does. So let me say this. There's a talk that was given yesterday by Terence Tao. Can somebody from my team please post it in the chat? I will see if I can pull it up. But Terence Tao gave a talk yesterday, and it's very interesting to hear what he has to say about, AI innovation and so on. How many of us know who Terence Tao is? Can I see by raise of hand, if you don't mind? Let me pull that link, because I think I shouldn't just assume that we all know him. Let's see. Okay, it was a talk at the if anybody can just look up Terence Tao and the talk he just gave. He was sitting at a fireside chat, and one of the things you will realize is that we need to allow people to try and fail and learn from their failures. Okay, so I'm just pulling it up here. We need to allow people to try and fail and learn from their failures. Our current education system does not allow enough of that. So even in mathematics, not everybody was able to just show up and figure out everything. They had to, actually, I'll give you two links to him. So this is the first one. He's known as one of the best mathematicians alive today. And so the first video in the chat here, please, I want to encourage everybody. It will be worth your time to watch part 1 and part 2. So there's video 2 and video 1. So you guys are going to see 2 videos. So I just posted video 2 and then video 1. So the video 2 is a talk that he gave. This is a mathematician. He gave a talk at the International Math Congress. And he talked about the fact that mathematics is actually going through a transformation right now. There's a massive transformation going on. And so let's see. Did everyone see the part 2? Does anyone recognize Terence Tao there? So that's the part 2. And then the part 1, for some reason, is not pulling up here. So I'll just give me 1 second, because this is going to be worth your time. This is, I see it here. Okay, so Mr. Chinon, so please, if you can share the video that is in your chat, that'll be great. I also shared it with Joseph and our tutors. So please share that with the team. So let me say this. Let me make a statement that you probably won't hear every day, but as I do a math problem here, I'm going to make a statement. I think math education has been solved. I think that a lot of what math education actually has been longing for has arrived. It's now a question if we're keeping our eyes open to that reality. Whoever thought that we would get to a point in history where you can generate 1,000 examples of any concept you're struggling with at any time? Whoever thought that would happen? Whoever thought that a time will come where you can literally do a lot of math year round without waiting for somebody to travel 500 miles to your village? Whoever thought that would happen? Do you know that the Queen of Sweden, right? Yesterday's lesson was on, give me 1 second here. We're just going to go for about 5-7 minutes. Sorry, I want to just show you guys something from math here. So yesterday we talked about the slope-intercept form of the line. And do you guys know that the guy behind this idea of the slope-intercept form, his name is René Descartes. And René Descartes, okay, so this is the Cartesian plane. The Cartesian plane is called the Cartesian plane for a reason, right? It's called the Cartesian plane. So remember, we call it the Cartesian plane. But why is it called the Cartesian plane? And I'm sorry, my marker was misbehaving there. And maybe Chinonso will help me write it. Sorry about that. But the Cartesian plane, as I get my marker working better, it was discovered by this guy called Descartes. Oh, actually, I have a solution. Talk about entrepreneurship. You have to be ready and you have to have a backup solution. What is my backup solution? I'm going to type his name. So everyone, René Descartes. Why is it called the Cartesian plane, right? Tomorrow we're going to do a lot of problems on graphing because René Descartes is behind it. It's called the Cartesian plane. I don't know if you guys realize that that's why we call it the Cartesian plane, because of René Descartes. René Descartes lived from 1596 to 1650. Now, he had to travel to go teach the Queen of Sweden. Like, imagine, the one of the greatest mathematicians in history has to travel at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. to go teach the Queen. He died at the age of 54 of pneumonia. Partly because of the situation, I would say, potentially, traveling in the cold in Sweden, that could be tough. So the point is this: we are now at a point in math, in history, whereby some students just don't care. And the problem is not they don't have solutions and tools. They just don't care. We have to make students to care. That is literally now that is an imperative on educators. We have to work extra, double, triple, quadruple time to get students to be inspired to care, because the knowledge availability is scary. You guys know, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. There's so much knowledge. That's not the issue. The issue is, do I care to try? And so Terence Tao was talking at the International Math Congress, and I don't know if you guys know, I don't know how many of you have paid attention to AI research, but AI is now at the level where PhD mathematicians, right, mathematicians are double checking their work, some of their work with AI. They're double checking some of their steps. It's not at a point where you would say, I'm going to completely let it out and do everything for me. But, oh, sorry, I do know how to spell, even though I'm a mathematician. I just wrote it fast. But the point is, I remember being in school, and we had this book called New General Mathematics, which is a great book. And all our students in America can get this book, and other students can use this book as well. It's a great resource. But when you open New General Mathematics, right, I open to a new chapter. They're giving us like 10 examples, 11 examples, 12 examples. That's great. So why are students not very, like, why don't all students do very well in math sometimes? Because in math, you cannot build when you have a weak foundation. You cannot build when you have a weak foundation. So in math, you cannot allow a child whose foundation is faulty to do the next lesson. If your foundation is faulty, you should not put anything above it. So there are children in our schools that do not know prime factorization, that do not know how to take a number like 28 and break it down into its prime numbers. There are children that do not know how to work with the lowest common multiple, greatest common factor, and so on and so forth. Math does not care, and Amos is pleading that people understand this heart cry, right? And I'm going to land here with what I'm trying to get at. It doesn't matter your age or grade when it comes to math. The only thing that matters is what is the prerequisite strength you have in your foundation before we allow you put the next block. That is the only thing math cares about. If your foundation is weak, it doesn't matter what country you're in. It doesn't matter what the standards are. Math doesn't care. All math cares about is your foundation of the prerequisite knowledge strong? If it is, then you get the rewards of doing mathematics. So we've given you 2 talks. And guys, you are listening to this is the cutting edge. This is the best mathematician by many accounts alive today. The best. And he gave us 2 talks and he didn't hold back. Can you imagine? He gave us everything. So if we listen to the best mathematicians, we should become the best mathematicians ourselves, or we should become very good, right? This is one of the reasons I read Leonard Euler, right? What do I do if I had a Friday night and my family was out for some reason and I couldn't go with them? Well, this is what I would do. I'll probably read some Euler, sit back, relax, and read from Leonard Euler. But why does this all matter? Well, we're talking about graphing, but we can't just teach graphing anymore. Our students are sitting down in the classroom and they're asking themselves, why do I care about this? Why do I care about this grid, right? And educators, I know there's a lot of educators on the call. I've been listening to some of what's happening and I'm paying close attention to what's going on in the math community. AI is solving math faster than we ever thought. But there's something even crazier than AI, and I want to talk about it for a second. So with AI, right, if you don't mind, please give me 3 minutes, and I promise you guys can turn off the camera after that. So 3 minutes. Before AI came, there was actually something called Wolfram Alpha and Mathematica. There's a brothers called the Wolfram brothers. I would argue that if you were to rank, and I don't know who has these rankings in any formal sense, but I would argue that they're probably the smartest people in the world today. Some of these guys I'm listing. Wolfram Alpha, the Wolfram brothers, as well as Terence Tao, and as well as Demis Hassabis with Google DeepMind. These are some of the smartest people alive today. And what you will find interesting is that there were tools that could solve any math problem before. And Mr. Yinka and I talked about this on a podcast, which we posted on Saturday last week. And I wish I had it handy. I would have put it in the chat. Just feel free to email me if you want to see it. But what we said is AI is going to create a great divide. The divide is going to be so massive, it's not going to be funny. Those who are doing their work, are working hard, and know how to use AI to challenge them to do better, to get more examples, you know that feeling when you're doing push-ups and you get to a point where you're like, that was hard, but I'm going to do one more. I'm going to do one more. That feeling can happen mentally too. So for some students in our math classes in Nigeria, they are doing so well. They're the best in their school. And there's nothing wrong with them doing well, right? Maybe they're using this book and they're doing so well. And we tell them, good job, you're doing so well. But do you know that some of them are not even sweating? They're not even sweating. Like, this is too easy. It's too easy for them. And then do you know they graduate? Maybe they get the best grade, but did they reach their potential? I don't think so. Not at all. Not even close. So that means we need to change our mindset in math, whereby those who are not pushing and sweating, they need to sweat. Everybody needs to be sweating. That is the only hope, I believe, in education in the AI revolution. If people are not sweating, the AI makes learning so easy, and some of them think they're learning, but they're not. So the people that are sweating are the ones who will then, at the end of the day, lead. The ones who are not sweating, guess what? They will hit a roadblock someday, and it might not be funny. So what does that mean for our education system? Mastery-based education is the only hope in our education system. That is the only hope. Students have to master the topic like they know their name. How can somebody get a 70% on a topic and we allow them to move forward? Like, how does that make sense in math? It doesn't. But the reason why we used to do that before is there was only one teacher trying to help all these kids. Now, what if the teacher could build a tool that can generate practice problems in increasing difficulty? What if the teacher could build a tool to enhance their ability to teach children of different levels? The time has come. But you might say, but Amos, there's limited resources. But that's where we're going to think outside the box. And that's one of the reasons we had Dr. Colin Gan come. By the grace of God, I believe this with all my heart, that it is possible that every community of the world will have constant electricity, clean drinking water, and decent healthcare. I believe it's possible. Why do I believe it's possible? Because there are people trying to go to the moon to set up a lunar base. If you can set up a lunar base on the moon, we can fix this on Earth. That is not a problem. But the solution will come when everybody is thinking creatively like an entrepreneur. And René Descartes, in many ways, is an innovator. He's one of the greatest innovators in history, because that Cartesian plane, my 1 minute now, that Cartesian plane, guys, is literally the bedrock of Algebra 1, Algebra 2, pre-calculus, geometry, even calculus. Because after he made it, and this is where I'm going to stop with our math history for the day, after he gave us the Cartesian plane that allows us to graph a line like this, like y is equal to x plus 1, after he made this, there came a man who showed us what the rate of change would be at that point. And so tomorrow, that man will be our focus. Right after René Descartes died, during the time when he died, there was an 8-year-old boy in England who was about to step up to the plate. And that 8-year-old boy would go on to change the world. Let's encourage our students to dream big. Let's encourage our students to work hard. But let's tell them the stories of where these ideas came from. Teachers and educators, this will be the strangest year in education. 100%. Agentic AI has snuck into the classroom. Students know more about a lot of these technologies than their teachers. Every teacher needs to retool, because I am sorry to break the news to teachers. Nobody knows what anybody has done anymore. I'm just being honest. We don't know. You have to prove it to us. You have to speak it out. And that's one thing Dr. Colin said. Communication is key. But in Nigeria, science students, art students, social science, the art students are supposed to be able to speak better, or whatever might be the case. They're supposed to know literature. All those days are gone. Everybody needs to know literature. Everybody needs to know history. I'm a mathematician. But why am I reading the history of ancient Rome and Greece? Like, what does that have anything to do with anything? Because the Greeks gave us the foundation for a lot of what we do in math. So I want to understand the Greeks. We need to teach students to be well-rounded. So I'm sorry my time is up, but I just wanted to say thank you to all of you. We're going to do math tomorrow for an hour and a half, and you could jump on the call. But we're going to transition and wrap up for today. I do see there was a few hands up. Is there any last burning questions before we say goodbye? I think I saw. Okay, and then Mr. Yinka and Dr. Thomas and anyone else in the tutoring squad, please, if you don't mind, we're gonna stick around and talk about that as well. Are there any questions? I see Mrs. Chuzoba. Oh, hello, Mrs. Unduka. How are you?
Fine, thank you. I want to apologize first for coming late. I'm so
No
sorry
problem.
about that. I dashed out somewhere and I thought I would have been early. So I'm so sorry about that. Even though I came late, I just want to appreciate all you have said and what the, sorry, I didn't get his name, Mr. Collins.
Dr. Collins.
He said, yeah, Dr. Collins. I'm so sorry about that. Well, talking about entrepreneurship for my country, Nigeria, I don't really think we have very enabling environment for that. We really do have smart children, but maybe for some reason they're not encouraged. So we're going to do our best in the school where I'm teach. Then secondly, about the math, honestly, thank God in school, I wasn't the best, but I was also good in math. I'm not afraid of math, but I think we have to work on the foundation of all these children here. And I would like you to give us a hint on how to go about it as we're about to begin a new academic session. I really want you to, put us through on how to go about it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Unduka. And so please, anyone, I'm sorry if you have to run, of course, no problem. But Mrs. Unduka's question has opened a can of worms. But before I answer Mrs. Unduka, can I just give a quick introduction? I would not be where I am today without for people like Mrs. Unduka and her colleagues. Mrs. Unduka teaches chemistry at the school that I went to. And this is the chemistry textbook that we used in that environment. Okay, so you guys can see how Mrs. Unduka and her this is the textbook, guys. So if you're wondering, Amos, where did you learn some of this chemistry?
Hello? I can't
Yes.
see anything.
Oh, you can't see it? Sorry, let me stop.
No, the screen is blank.
Oh, really? Okay, let me try again.
Yeah, thank you. I cannot see.
You can see it?
No, I can see now. Yes! That's the new school chemistry.
Yes. So Mrs.
Oh my
Unduka was colleagues with my chemistry teacher. I studied chemistry in college. So let me just say one quick word on that. So this is my secondary school, Federal Government College, Lagos, in Ijaniki, Nigeria. And what we're trying to do is we're actually trying to, I'll let the cat out of the bag, but we are trying to create an environment that will raise some of the top AI researchers in the world. They're actually going to come from Lagos. They're going to come from Ijanikin, by God's grace. And so I think that if we can give children a solid foundation, as she said, right? This gave me a solid foundation. And this is why my company is actually going to start giving this in the US to people. Like, they need to read some of the stuff that we read. I must be honest, some of this stuff is a little intense, I'm going to be honest. But it is important that we teach students how to learn at such a time as this. So let me answer Mrs. Unduka. By the way, we are going to transition, and this is a time where we call it tutor training, teacher training, collaborations. Dr. Thomas and I, you hear us go back and forth. I'm going to bring in Mr. Yinka as well. Mrs. Palm, you're welcome to jump in. So what we're going to do now, what I'm going to answer now is actually for the other meeting that we were going to have, and we're just going to start talking about it. I guess some students will learn. There's only like one or two, but let me just say this. I am shocked. I'm actually shocked at what has happened in the state of math education in Nigeria. I am shocked to hear what I'm hearing. Because when I grew up, this almost is like the story of Nehemiah in the Bible, right? Where you learn the old days. When I grew up, and maybe somebody correct me, I am pretty sure that a lot of people around me were really intense with math. Like everywhere I looked, right? For the most part. Maybe a few people struggled here and there. But it looks like sub-Saharan Africa is struggling in math. And we have to solve that problem. And one of the ways we're going to solve that problem is collaborations, right? So Dr. Thomas is in Georgia. I'm in a state called Wyoming, then Colorado. And we want to work together. How do we work together to solve this problem of math education globally? The thing about math is that it is a language for everybody. So to answer her question, I would say, please, someone from my team, can we post this link in the chat? Elements of Algebra, Leonard Euler. I think we need to read excerpts of this book. It's a free resource. Let me put one more link in the chat. So the answer to that question, I don't think we can answer all of that today. But what I would say is this. We need to make sure that our students are learning the fundamentals. What are the fundamentals? Let me say something, and I want to hear what you guys think. I think the most important topic in all of the foundation years of math, okay, I'm going to say the name. I think there's one topic that is more important than almost any other topic, and that topic is prime numbers. Prime numbers and prime factorization has to be one of the most important things in all of mathematics. How do I know this? Well, we're going to do a session, Mr. Chinonso, where we just invite people to do prime numbers. I don't know if that's okay. Is that okay, Chinonso? And here's why. So somebody said, Amos, how can you say that? How can you say it's prime numbers? Here's why. If I ask you guys 1 over 4 plus 1 over 3, we can't add them. We say we can't add them. Why? Because they don't have the same denominator. But what do I need to do to get the same denominator? I need to find the lowest common denominator. But what is the lowest common denominator in this case? Okay, we say it's 12. But here's the reality. In order to understand lowest common denominator, I need to know something about prime numbers. I need to know something about prime factorization. So we need to know prime factorization before we do this topic. And if I don't know how to prime factorize, then I don't know how to, well, if I don't know what a prime number is, then I don't know how to prime factorize. So guess what? I'm going to go down below that and I'm going to write prime numbers. Okay? But if I don't know place value, if I don't know basic arithmetic, I'm going to have a problem. I don't know if the educators are seeing where I'm going with this. Every single topic, we need to do this for it. What is the underlying thing that allows you to do that topic well? So I would argue that prime numbers are the most important. Mr. Inka, do you agree with me about prime numbers? So what are your thoughts on that? Or Mr. Chinon, so one of you, go ahead. What do you guys think on that?
Yeah. So I also think that prime numbers are the most important concept, and they form the foundation because, of course, like you've said, most concepts in math would require students to have a good understanding and apply the knowledge of prime numbers. For example, if you want to perform factorization of polynomials, you also need to know prime factors, because if you want to factor things out, so it forms the foundation, and just like you've said, it's one of the most important concepts in math. Yeah.
And it's interesting because GCF is also important, right? Sorry, I'm trying to write GCF. And Dr. Thomas, I don't know what you've seen in your experience working with students. What is one topic from pre-algebra that you're like, we need this in order to do anything else? Oh, okay. Actually, give me 1 second. Let me see. He had to step up. Okay. Any other educators that want to jump in? What are some of the foundations you think we need to give?
Well, another thing is, the order of operation. So students need to know how to perform mathematical operations and then follow it sequentially. So that's another thing that forms a major foundation in mathematics.
Excellent. So I think what we will do then, Chinonso and the team, is let's just plan to run a boot camp on the foundations of mathematics, and we can spend time on prime numbers. So everyone on the call we'll have a link we'll send out, and we're just going to work through the foundation, and then from the foundation, I think that we'll be able to build up from there. As far as the series of classes, of course, everybody is familiar with, we talk about pre-algebra, and then we go into algebra 1, and then algebra. In America, we call it this way. We say algebra 1, algebra 2. But I will be honest with you, Nigeria has a better, the framework is actually better than America's framework. And the reason is partly, do you guys remember when I told you about the secrets of Singapore's math success? Do you know that Nigeria's curriculum is actually pretty much the same as Singapore? I don't know if you guys knew that. It's actually the same. And I think what's going on in Nigeria sometimes is that we teach the rigor, but the children don't see how it applies to their lives. So we have to find a way to help them see how it's relevant. But in order to do that, sometimes it takes funding to get the labs and things like that. So I think a global collaboration is the only way forward. Increase global collaboration so that we can see more capital go into infrastructure for education excellence. And that's part of my goal with what we're seeing in Nigeria and other parts of Africa. So I'm not going to do much more math today, but I think that will be where we'll go from. So, Mr.
Yeah,
Inka, go ahead.
Mr. Amos, can I say something?
Yeah, where's Mr. Inka? I'm looking for Mr. Inka.
Yeah, I'm right here.
We're waiting up
I'm
for
on.
you,
Can I
sir.
say something?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
These are all
So
educators for the most part, just so you know. So this is like our teacher review session together.
oh, okay, yeah, okay, that's great. So which will make the conversation make sense. So when it comes to helping kids rebuild their foundations, right? One of the things I like to tell people is that they're every skill does not have the same amount of relevance, as it were. Every skill doesn't take as much time to learn, or also does not have as much relevance in terms of holding up other content. So maybe you come into a house. There are some pillars that, I mean, they're just pillars. You can even let them go, and it really won't change anything. But there are some pillars that are really strong, or that hold, that bear the brunt of the weight of the building. That if that pillar is broken, the whole thing comes crashing down. So you need to be careful with how you approach stuff, and then make sure that the things that require much time, you give them much time. I was speaking to a couple of students who had come in from Dubai over the summer, and the general goal was, okay, we are trying to work on this and work on that and stuff. And so they had spent maybe like the month, nearly a month, just fixing their multiplication tables and their division, their basic operations generally, you know. And so the boy at some point, even though they had not started to make progress, he has some behavioral issues anyway, but I started to make progress. And then he was just frustrated about the fact that we're still doing that. So I gave